Hello and welcome. Now, you're probably wondering why I would want to start a video concerning a studio in an environment like this. I mean, it's not necessarily conducive to recording. You've got a lot of street noise. You just got a lot of things that are going on that makes it very difficult to do a decent recording in. So it may not be necessarily the best place to do this recording, but then again it might. Welcome to Sequatchie Studios. My name is Bert Kilgore, and the whole purpose behind Sequatchie Studios is to be able to bring together people who have a passion for making movies, for writing scripts, for being able to get in there, get their hands dirty, and actually get something done by writing a movie, shooting a movie, watching a movie. And you repeat the process. Now with Sequatchie Studios, one of the things that we're going to be doing is basically cycling. And this is not like a bicycle because, no. Now what we're going to be doing as far as cycling goes is we're going to sit down together, we're going to go over some concepts, and we're going to kind of go over the whole filmmaking process first. And then we're going to, as the meetings progress, we're going to write a script. We're going to learn how to write a script before we do, but we're going to write a script. And then we're going to shoot that script. We're going to edit that script, and then we're going to watch our short film. And that's one cycle. And then what we'll do is we'll start over with the second cycle. Cycle 2. Now cycle 2 is completely dependent on who decides to stay after cycle 1. If people continue to show up and the people who have already learned, then that's great. But we may have newcomers that come in and they're going to need to be caught up on what they need to do, what their role may be, different ways of being able to write their scripts. And of course, with everyone being able to help everyone else, it helps build those cycles faster. The point's not necessarily to crank out a bunch of films. The point is to be able to make these films and tell stories that are local to our area. And that's a big thing for me. There are so many stories that I hear bits and pieces of. I go to Hardee's in the morning and a group of the men are sitting around talking. You'll hear one of them start up a story. And they're great stories. But we only have pieces and parts and no one's recording. But what if we did? What if we were able to find these people, get them to sit down, to talk to us, to do some research, to get some photos, maybe do a documentary. Maybe you know someone personally that needs to be documented. One of the things that I also wanted to point out about Sequatchie Studios is we have the gear. We have the gear to be able to make movies. I've already been making movies. I make short films. I'm hoping to eventually make a feature film. I've got a script that I've written that's right now about 48, 50 minutes long. I've still got a lot more to go into, but I'm hoping one day maybe we'll get it shot. Now, as far as gear goes, we've got a bed, and I'm gonna play with the camera here just a little bit. We're gonna go over here to the corner into the darkness, but I'll brighten it up with one of our lights just a little bit. All right, so as you can tell, we are in the Valley Fest building. As you can tell by all the posters for the different years of Valley Fest. This is where we'll be meeting every first and third Thursday of the month. There's a lot of things that are a part of filmmaking that, we don't really appreciate all that goes into it. This literally detects how much light is being sent. I can turn it on and I face it toward the light, and I know that I'm getting roughly about 135. 24.8 degrees Celsius. It gives me my information. And why is that important? Well, it's important because if I'm shooting this and then later I need to shoot at a different spot in the room, I need my lighting to stay consistent. And by writing this information down, we can adjust the lighting brightness or dim to be able to match that in order to make the film look more cohesive. There's also those shots that you can't get with a regular camera. That's why we have a drone. This drone is a DJI Mavic 2, and it will absolutely skedaddle. It loves to fly. We have sliders. We have what everyone always asks about, the actual clapboard. We have a lot of equipment here, and it's just waiting for us to make movies. So why don't you just come join us? It's every first and third Thursday of the month. We meet twice a month, so not too much pressure. It's not a weekly thing. The best part, it's free. Yeah, we're not charging you for this. This isn't something that we're trying to do for a profit. This isn't something that we are attempting to do in order to make money. The whole reason I wanted to do this is to make movies. And I think there's a lot of you out here who want to get into that storytelling. You've got stories to tell, or you've always wanted to get into filmmaking, but you weren't really sure how. Especially when it comes to independent filmmaking, amateur filmmaking, and that's perfectly okay. Come here and learn. We'll learn together. If you ask a question and I know the answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't know the answer, I'll look it up and bring it to you the next meeting. But that's how we all learn together. One of the things that we do besides the green screen is we do visual effects for short films. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of clips from a short film that we did called Time, which is an excerpt of a larger script I was working on. Basically, it's the meeting between an FBI agent and a serial killer that he's been on the trail of and has been chasing, and finally almost has him within his grasp. Now, if you pay attention, you'll recognize a couple of people in there. There'll be some obvious people you're going to recognize that are here local. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's play that first scene.
Mayor Jennings, I promise you, as soon as we know something, you will.
Good, because if this is a local hate crime, I need to know about it.
Now, that first scene has a little something special about it. When Keith came out to help us, he was wearing his county executive shirt. It's a Sequatchie County executive on one side, and the other side had his name. The side that's closest to the camera had his name on it. So what we had to do was use visual effects to remove his name from his shirt and keep it covered for the duration of the time that he was on camera. And going slow, you might be able to notice a little dodging here and there of the mixture, but for the most part, it's a pretty clean edit. The visual effects that we try to do the most of are the things that you don't realize are visual effects. We're not trying to do it, have lightning coming from our hands and anyway. The next part that I wanted to show you was a very simple scene, and then I'll give you a little information about it. Okay, let's go ahead and roll the second scene.
You look exhausted.
That second scene, we lost the audio to it. It wasn't funny because at the time, because we have this movie that we're trying to make, and all of a sudden we have this, and no words are coming out, no sounds coming out. So we had to improvise. And I had Jimmy Lee, who was our serial killer, speak his line again, record it. And then we did what's called Foley, which is sound replacement for making sounds, his footsteps across the floor, the chair being dragged out, the squeak of the chair when he sits down in it, all that's fake. It's all done by sound design. Now, it's not necessarily visual effects, this is more of an auditory effect. But still, it's neat to know that, a lot of things that are very, very subtle in these short films, even though it's not something that's meant to go out on the major theaters, we still put a lot of effort behind it in order to make it the best possible movie that we can. Now, for the last thing, I just wanted to show you a real quick shot here. Now, obviously, when you see the timer running, yeah, there's the timer. When you see the timer running, you know that's a visual. It's pretty obvious that on the bottom that the numbers there are a visual effect. What you may not realize, though, is there's one point where our serial killer is sitting down and he's talking. He's explaining why the Dragon Lady would make mistakes. The FBI officer's boss. As he's explaining this, you're able to see out the door. The only problem was as we were going through our continuity, which I'll explain later, come to one of the meetings and we'll talk about it. What happened was we forgot to shoot the scene until it was late. And suddenly he's sitting down and he's talking, but when you look outside, it's dark, which you wouldn't do because it's daylight, and then it switches to a shot of him where it's dark, and then it goes back to daylight again, and everyone would notice that. So what we did was we took a frame from another shot that had the door lit up, and we cut that out, and we pasted it onto the door where he's talking that was originally been done. Now see if you can notice what the difference is. See, it integrates fairly well. You can always go to our website, which is sequatchastudios.com, and on a blog post, you'll be able to find a few of the movies that I've linked to that I've done over the years that I've had my hand in. Some of them kind of funny, some of them more serious. We would really love to have as many people as possible show up. However, we are going to be limited to about 30 people because of our workspace. We don't have a lot of it. We've got tables and chairs, but the room is not huge. And so it's really going to be on a first come, first served basis. And if you're in cycle 1 and you want to move on to cycle 2, you'll have priority. If you decide, well, after cycle 1, yeah, I've made a short film, I got my curiosity out of the way, so I'm good to go now. At that point, you step out, someone else steps in. And that's assuming we get 30. If we don't have 30, we're join in the middle. It wouldn't matter because we're going to be learning different things as we go. We're going to go from script writing to pre-production, then to the production itself, actually making the movie. And then we're going to go into post-production, where we're going to be doing our editing, color grading, and explaining what all of that means. And then we're going to watch the movie. So we look forward to seeing you here. Again, it's the first and third Thursday of every month, unless a holiday falls on that day, and then we're just going to skip it. So if you ever have any questions, you can always email me at webmaster@sequatchastudios.com. Oh, signing up. Signing up is really simple. Again, go to the website, sequatchastudios.com, and at the bottom or side of almost every single page, there's a place for you to put in your name and your email address. First 30 in the door with that email address and name, you're on the list. You'll be in cycle 1, and we're going to make a movie, and I think you're going to enjoy it. My name is Bert Kilgore, and thank you for watching. Good night. No, good night. Because I'm not going to know whether it's night or day. I can't say signing out because that wouldn't work either. See ya. No, that's dumb. Where all could the magical green screen take me? Hey. No. This is just weird. Oh.